Maya Sanchez thought she was investigating random disappearances. Each case felt isolated, a tragic footnote in the city's forgotten corners. But as she dug deeper, a chilling pattern began to emerge, connecting the vanished lives in ways no one else saw. Working for a struggling independent news outlet, Maya specialized in stories the mainstream media ignored, missing persons from vulnerable communities, aspiring talents who vanished without explanation. It was a lonely beat, fueled by a fierce belief that every story deserved to be told. Every disappearance investigated, especially when the system failed them. The breakthrough came unexpectedly, buried deep within the digital footprint of a young tech enthusiast who had disappeared months prior. An hidden encrypted file, hidden with expert precision. Hours blurred as Maya worked, her fingers flying across the keyboard, driven by urgency. Finally, the code broke. 3 simple words flashed on her screen. Aegis network active. The air grew cold. This wasn't random. This wasn't a series of unfortunate events. This was a coordinated operation, a network operating in the shadows, pulling strings, making people disappear. Her editors were skeptical, dismissing it as conspiracy. Law enforcement offered polite indifference. But Maya knew. Her gut screamed she had stumbled onto something massive, powerful, and protected. The moment she decoded those words, she became the network's next target. The resistance she faced only confirmed it. The deeper the pushback, the closer she was to the heart of the conspiracy. Maya's investigation, fueled by a desperate need for answers, began to peel back the layers of a conspiracy so vast it defied. Say it to peel back the layers of a conspiracy so vast it defied rational explanation. What she uncovered was not a series of isolated incidents, but a meticulously constructed web of connections that stretched into the highest echelons of society. The missing persons weren't random victims of chance. They were carefully selected targets. Individuals deliberately funneled through seemingly legitimate, trusted organizations. She found charities masquerading as philanthropic fronts, their boards stacked with prominent Hollywood elites, their true purpose a horrifying secret. Talent scout agencies, promising dreams of stardom, were instead pipelines linked directly to powerful, untouchable religious figures. And beneath it all, a labyrinth of shell corporations. Managed by banking executives so high up, they seemed beyond the reach of the law, laundering the profits of this human trade. Each thread Maya pulled revealed another, deeper layer of the conspiracy. Financial transactions that were too precise, too perfectly timed to be accidental. Offshore accounts linking entertainment moguls to religious leaders to financial power brokers in a chilling triangle of complicity. This wasn't just corruption or organized crime. It was a unified network operating seamlessly across the very institutions people trusted most: faith, finance, and fame. As the truth solidified, 2 unlikely allies emerged from the shadows. First, an elderly former banker, his conscience finally breaking under the weight of years of silence. Haunted by his past complicity, he began feeding Maya encrypted data fragments, his hands shaking as he described the chilling mechanics of the network. How they used blackmail, mutual dependency, and shared secrets to ensure absolute terrified loyalty. Then came the hacker. A young, brilliant cybersecurity expert who initially thought they were just exposing complex corporate fraud, until the true, horrific nature of the operation became undeniable. But Aegis, the shadowy force behind it all, was watching. The threats started subtly, insidious whispers spreading through anonymous smear campaigns questioning Maya's credibility, painting her as unstable. Her news outlet faced mysterious funding cuts and crippling cyber attacks that threatened to silence them completely. Surveillance became obvious. The constant, unnerving presence. Break-ins at her home and office left subtle, chilling signs of intrusion. Nothing stolen, just a clear message. Nothing stolen, just a clear message. The message was brutal and simple. Stop digging or face consequences far worse than she could imagine.
The deeper Maya dug, the more horrifying the truth became. Aegis wasn't just a loose conspiracy. It was a single unified network, a parasitic entity woven into the very fabric of society. Its members held key, trusted positions, not just in banks and corporations, but within the glittering world of Hollywood studios and the hallowed halls of religious institutions. They didn't just operate around these institutions. They used them as sophisticated hunting grounds, leveraging the inherent trust placed in these pillars of community. They identified and trafficked vulnerable individuals, all while hiding in plain sight behind carefully constructed facades of respectability and philanthropy. Their public image was a shield, their good deeds a distraction from the darkness beneath. The revelation that truly shattered Maya's worldview came when she discovered a beloved celebrity, someone she had admired for years. Whose work had brought joy to millions.
Director revelation of whose work had brought joy entangled, was deeply entangled. Whether a blackmailed pawn trapped by circumstances, their involvement was facilitated by a powerful talent agent. This agent acted as a direct enforcer, exploiting the ambitions, insecurities, and past mistakes of those under their management. The network's twisted currency of pleasure and money was revealed in truly disturbing transactional detail. Maya realized she was facing something unprecedented. A hydra-headed monster that had infiltrated and corrupted every institution society depended on for safety and guidance. Banks that should protect wealth were actively funding trafficking operations, laundering the profits of human misery. Churches that preached morality and offered solace were harboring predators, using their sacred status as a shield. Entertainment companies that created dreams and inspired hope were manufacturing nightmares, grooming and exploiting the very people who sought fame and fortune. The network's power came not just from immense wealth or political influence, but from their insidious ability to corrupt the very foundations of trust that hold society together. They operated above all laws and morals, protected by an unbreakable code of mutual blackmail and absolute complicity. Anyone who dared to expose them faced not just one powerful enemy, but an entire system weaponized against them, designed to silence and destroy. Maya had done it. She'd secured the evidence, a digital cache containing names, dates, financial trails. Undeniable proof of Aegis's vast human trafficking and blackmail operations. This wasn't just data. It was the key to dismantling their empire. But possessing the truth was one thing. Surviving to tell it was another.
As soon as Aegis detected her breach, the Shadow Network mobilized its immense resources. Their chilling objective: silence her permanently, erase her and her findings from existence. The final confrontation exploded on multiple fronts. Maya was physically hunted, a desperate fugitive pursued through the city by Aegis enforcers, navigating narrow alleys and tense standoffs. Simultaneously, in the unseen digital realm, her unseen hacker ally waged a furious war, battling through layers of sophisticated cyber defenses designed to protect Aegis's darkest secrets. The clock was ticking down to zero. It was a frantic race against time. Expose the explosive information publicly, broadcast it to the world before Aegis could scrub it clean and suppress it forever, or face the grim reality of watching the truth die with them. The most gut-wrenching, devastating revelation came last. A figure of seemingly unimpeachable benevolence, a high-ranking religious official beloved and trusted by millions worldwide, was unmasked as one of Aegis's most depraved central architects. He had ruthlessly exploited his sacred position of trust, twisting faith itself into a perverted shield, a cloak for orchestrating unspeakable crimes against the most vulnerable. Maya stood at a precipice, facing an impossible soul-crushing choice. Expose the full, horrifying scope of Aegis's operations, unleashing chaos and risking countless innocent lives caught in the fallout, including her own and those of her few loyal allies. Or compromise, settle for a smaller, safer victory that might save lives in the short term but leave the core of Aegis intact. But in her journey through the shadows, she had learned a fundamental, brutal truth. Sometimes exposing the truth, the whole truth, is the only victory that truly matters, the only way to begin healing, even when immediate justice feels impossibly far away. Maya's revelation wasn't a quiet leak. It was a detonation. Encrypted files burst simultaneously across multiple platforms. A live broadcast, impossible to stop, carried her message globally. Irrefutable evidence landed on the desks of the few uncorrupted authorities. The world reeled, then shattered, confronted with the monster hiding within trusted institutions. Years of trust evaporated in moments. The immediate aftermath brought a storm of disbelief, quickly turning to outrage. Society grappled with a terrifying realization. The very institutions meant to protect them had been hollowed out, twisted, and turned against them. A chilling fear took hold. But Aegis, exposed, didn't go quietly. He struck back with ferocity, mobilizing damage control, denial, and brutal retaliation against Maya and anyone who helped her. Smear campaigns, legal attacks, threats. Every weapon was used. Maya had won a victory, a monumental blow, but at enormous personal cost. Her life, her safety, irrevocably altered. She had exposed the truth about Aegis, but the network's deep roots and vast power meant the fight was far from over. Aegis wasn't just a group, it was a hydra. Some members would fall, dragged into the light, but others would adapt, evolve, operating deeper in the shadows, learning from exposure. In the end, amidst the chaos and the cost, Maya learned the ultimate lesson. Challenging absolute power requires absolute, unwavering courage. One person's determination, a single spark, could stand against a monolithic force, not to destroy it, but to tear open the darkness, shine a light, and give others the courage to see, believe, and continue the fight. The truth, once revealed, was a seed planted. The price of silence, of complicity, had always been too high. A slow, suffocating death. Maya paid the price of truth instead. It was a heavy burden, but she carried it knowing some battles are worth fighting, some truths worth revealing, even when victory isn't guaranteed. In a world where institutions could be corrupted, where trust was shattered, individual will, the refusal to yield, remained the last line of defense against absolute evil.